What's up? Got some people joining. Gonna wait for a couple more people to join before I start talking. What's up? Okay. So for this live, I want to discuss narcissism in sororities. Okay? Because it is a very major thing that is going on to this very day. I don't think I can zip this up. Yeah, we can. I got it. So let's go ahead and talk about narcissism in... Okay, let's talk about narcissism in sororities, okay? So what led me to go ahead and talk about this is that I am a member of one of the Divine Nine sororities. Okay, the Divine Nine is the historically African-American sororities and fraternities. And what's different than like those regular sororities and fraternities that people join in college, like when they do Rush and everything, the difference is that, you know, those sororities that people have created in college, you know, you can drop it, you can leave it, you can like, by the time you're out of college, like it's not really a thing. But okay. But when you join a sorority or fraternity and it's in the Divine Nine, that is something that you are in for life. And there are famous people that are of one of those fraternities and sororities, like Felicia Rashad and her sister Debbie Allen. Both of them are a part of they are AKAs, okay? Alpha Kappa Alpha. Martin Luther King, he's an Alpha. His wife, Coretta Scott King, was an AKA. Who else? Steve Harvey, he's an Omega. He's a Q. Sandra Bland, Omega Rho. She was a part of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. She's my soror, okay? Yeah. But say her name, Sandra Bland. But let's go ahead and go into it. So my sorority was founded in Indianapolis, Indiana at Butler University, November 12th, 1922. This year is our 100-year anniversary. This year is our centennial. Our Founders Day is on tomorrow. And I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm like, our 7 founders, Mary Lou and the crew, would be turning in their graves right now if they saw exactly what their sorority has come to. Mind you, I said this was created in 1922. They were across the street from the KKK when they started this. So they already had to deal with racial profiling. They already had to deal with being the only black woman on campus at the time because they weren't allowing other black people to enter. They went through so much. They walked so we could run. But the fact that the foundations that this sorority was built on, people are not even upholding those standards anymore. And to anybody right now that's thinking, why would you talk about something like this right before the Founders Day? Shouldn't we be celebrating? We can celebrate all we want to, but we're not going to ignore and brush under the rug what's really going on. How can we celebrate something when that one thing is causing so many people trauma? There are many women out here that join the sorority at whatever campus, and they talk about how they went through a lot of issues with bullying from the other women, from harassment, from, you know, just, it was a lot of narcissistic abuse in these organizations. And that's something that people are brushing under the rug and they're trying to ignore. But when there are women that are literally living with trauma, I'm one of them, living with trauma at the hands of these people. Our trauma is not our fault, but our healing is our responsibility. I have to heal from something that I didn't deserve to happen to me. I have to heal from all of this trauma that these women have caused me that were supposed to be my sisters. They say not every soror is a sister, and that's fine. You're not going to get along with everybody. You're not going to be buddy best friends with everyone. But, however, just because you're not buddy with somebody does not mean that you have to go out of your way to hurt somebody, bully them, pick on them, and just make them feel bad. And what I mean by the bullying is where it's moments where, like, you know, different sorority members, different sorority sisters are ganging up on one person. They do this stuff in group chats. They do this stuff in person. It was moments where, thank you. It was moments where we're having these sister circle meetings, but all of those meetings, what they did is it was just a way for them to attack one person. And that person that was always attacked was me. They would come up and have these meetings, these sister circles, talking about how we want to fix issues within the ship. But those issues they always wanted to come here and act like they had an issue with me. But they could never really talk about what deeply the issue was. It was always them bringing up the most trivial things and then blowing it out of proportion. And when you have all these other sorority members in cahoots with each other, they are siding with each other. That's what it is with narcissism. That's flying monkeys. Flying monkeys. They're enabling each other for what they're doing. Okay, dresses go there. Different pile. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay, where was I? So, I joined my sorority when I was a sophomore in college at the age of 19 years old, and that was 2017. I was the spring of 2017. Okay, so I've been in this, how many years is that? 5 years. 5 years. I'm 5 years in the game, okay? 5 years in Sigma. But out of that 5 years, when I look back, like, I did not get what I was told I was going to get. When I went to these informationals, I'm listening to these people talk, and they're talking about how wonderful this sisterhood is and how they love each other and everything. Oh no, that's just to lure you in. That's just what they have to say. They put on this whole facade. But once you get into the actual thing, that's when their true colors are shown. And what happens is, you know how in families, how people will say, well, that's still your family. That's still your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother. You got to put up with that. They use that same exact tactic for when you are in a sorority. Well, that's still your line, sister. That's still your ship. You have to do this. I'm not about to put up with no type of disrespect and abuse because this person is my line sister. Because are they acting sisterly to me? No. You want me to act sisterly to somebody that's treating me like an enemy? It does not make sense. Make it make sense. I've kept silent about this for no more wire hangers. I'm sorry. I have kept silent about this for the longest time. So when I was the sorority, basically, this is going to slip off this thing. Yeah, I knew it was going to slip off. Hanger. Those hangers. Okay. A wire hanger. Nah, for real. But anyway, no, it's like you can't pick up a wire hanger without thinking about that scene. But anyway, y'all. So I was in this sorority, and I joined the sorority in the spring of 2017, and then we was on the yard. The rest of the calendar year 2017 going into that fall semester, and then I had like all of 2018, and then so that's like 2 whole years pretty much. The entire time, those girls tortured me. And I'm going to call you all out by name. Gamma Rho chapter at Illinois State University. What else did they do? My line sister, I'm on the spring 2017 line 6 DOS, okay? And the girls that were on my line that tortured me, the rest of the 5 of them, Leah Ellis, Kiera Darling Garrett, Era Shea Harris, Jennifer Patterson. The last one, I'm going to leave you out because honestly, my anchor, she was like the only one that actually, I will say, she did the least amount of damage, okay? I'm not even going to call her name out, okay? Because when I look at my anchor, number 6, I think about how anytime she may have done something, it's because she was basically trying to she didn't want to be the one that was targeted, so she would kind of just join in with them because it was easier to join than to defend. But she did have some moments where she did come and defend me. She came to my rescue. And that's why I will always be grateful for her, because she came to my rescue when I needed her. So I'm not even going to call out my anchor. Thank you, baby. I'm not even going to call out your name. I'm sorry, your other ships ain't safe. They ain't safe. But the main culprits that did the biggest issues was Kiera Darling Garrett, Leah Ellis, and Era Shea Harris. I'm calling y'all out by name. Because honestly, it was no reason for you all to treat me that way. And if y'all are listening to me right now, let me tell y'all what y'all did to me. Let me tell you what you did to me. First of all, let me tell you why you all hated me so much. I'm gonna read y'all the filth. Okay. The reason as to why you all hated me so much is because you could see the light within me that you did not have. There was this light about me that you all did not have. When I walked into the room, I lit up the entire room. Everyone else adored me. Everyone else loved me. They welcomed me in with warm, welcoming arms. But you all didn't like me from the jump. You all didn't like me from day one. Because the light that you saw within me, you all didn't have. Y'all saw how kind I was, how sweet I was, how pure I was. And it reminded you of all of the demons that you still are living with. Y'all hated the fact that I was so pure. Y'all hated the fact that I was very pure, very modest. While y'all was out there being promiscuous, I was out there being a virgin. And while I was a virgin, Kiara, Dowling Garrett, made up a rumor about me trying to say that I was being promiscuous and I was sleeping with all of these other people. Baby, when she made up those rumors, I had never had sex a day in my life at that point. The only sex I've ever had was involuntary. I was raped twice. Okay, I was raped as a virgin. So I can't even really classify that as really having sex. You know what I'm saying? Part of me still feels like I have that virginity at the same time because spiritually I didn't lose it. Physically I did. There's a difference. But anyway, Kiara didn't like me from the jump. Kiara would basically make up all of these rumors trying to make it seem like because I was a sophomore, she was a freshman. She was talking about like, Terry's trying to come at me because I'm a freshman. She's saying all of this. She's saying all. Where she got that from was how, you know how sometimes when you go off to college and you see other people from other high school that came from other high schools and y'all were kind of like rivals. You know what I'm saying? So I was in the marching band and we competed against other bands. Okay. I went to Marian Catholic High School. Our marching band was stellar. I mean, Marian Catholic is a household name in the marching band world. You go to anybody, I went to Marian Catholic. Oh my God. Like Marian Catholic is like Abbey Lee Dance Company in the band world, if that makes sense. Okay. But anyway, so what had happened was Marian was such a strong household name because our band director had been in it for such a long time that other band directors would ask my band director to write drill for their show. So there was this one time where my junior year, some other school had asked my band director to write them to write drill for their show, and basically they were kind of using some of the music that basically BIM had kind of used some of the music that we had in our show the year before. So when we were at this competition, we sitting here like, that's Apocalyptic Dreams. That is our song. How they gonna just steal our song? We had a local competition, and like once we got off the field, the next band that came on played our song from the previous year. So we all was just looking around like, bro, they stealing from us. And then at that point, we're like, that's when we found out that, oh, BIM wrote the drill, so that's why. But still, it was like a funny thing. It was like kid banter. It's like friendly banter, friendly rivalry, right? So what had happened was, this story is important because when I go off to college and we're having like a conversation, I'm like having a conversation with my line sisters one day. I'm having a conversation with Kiara. And Kiara was like, we had brought up what we did in high school. And I talked about how I was in the band and she was also in the band. And I'm like, okay, well, what did you play at your high school? She's, I was in the color guard. I'm like, wait, which school did you go to? And she told me her school. It was one of the Lincoln Ways. And I was like, wait a minute. I forgot which one it was, but whichever Lincoln Way it was the school that took our song. I was like, wait a minute. Was y'all the one that had played Apocalyptic Dreams? She was like, yeah. I was like, bro, I remember that. I was a junior. We was all sitting on the sideline. All of my whole band was talking about, like, they just stole us up. Like, I pretty much was just, like, joking with her and bringing up what we had thought. I was like, that was just so funny that, y'all had stole our stuff or whatever. That's just anybody just doing friendly banter. You know what I'm saying? But for her, she basically took that as, oh, well, Terry was trying to come at me and she was talking about how her band is amazing and my band is this. Baby, I was playing. I wasn't even talking about like you suck and you're this. I was talking about, bro, my band was saying this because they band did this. I wasn't even calling her out specifically. I was talking about her band as a whole. And the thing is, we was in college, so it didn't even matter anymore. But she used that as an example. She used that as a reason in order for her to like make her story plausible, talking about she was coming at me this way. How was that coming at you? It wasn't. But that's what narcissists do. They sit up here and they yap and they make up stuff. They make up lies. They tell all these lies. They embellish things that's not even true. And we were like very fresh into our process when Kiera was starting all of this stuff. And what was happening is that she basically, the way narcissists work is narcissists want to go behind the scenes, behind your back, and they want to cause a whole bunch of drama, and they want to turn people against you. And that's what she did. Kiera was turning everybody against me. She was having Jennifer call up my phone and, you know, basically was making Jennifer the middleman and stuff like that. And it was moments where, like, we would be having these sister circle meetings, or we would, like, as when you're online, you got to do a lot of stuff. You have to perform a lot of, you got to put stuff together. I can't tell you about the process, but you got to spend a lot of time with your line sisters. And anytime we had those moments where we are like having to be together, I never felt welcome. I never felt like I was wanted. I didn't feel like they wanted me there. I mean, it's like everybody would be talking and they would ignore me anytime I said anything. They would literally go out of their way to make me feel bad. They would have moments where I couldn't win for losing with those people. Any little thing that I said and did, they picked it apart and they criticized me. They would do, like, just, I'm not even going to go into detail because I don't even want to get into that energy. But I don't have to necessarily give specific examples to say what I'm talking about. If I'm telling you that they're picking me apart for every little trivial thing that I've done, believe me when I say that. Sorry, y'all, I'm kind of folding clothes. But anyway. And some other things that they did was when we like were offline and we were on the yard and stuff like that, and we would come around and basically like my line sisters basically ostracized me. They shunned me. They basically, like, our ship was called 6 DOS, and they would say stuff like, no, we're 5 DOS because we don't want Terry. We're kicking her out. We don't want you here. And then by the time I finally left them and I told those girls good riddance, I said goodbye. I said good riddance, 5 DOS, because that's what you all wanted anyway. And some other things that they had did was they would, okay, there was this one time at homecoming where we were all sitting around. We were at Leah's house, and we were all sitting around Leah's house and everything, and we were getting ready to go out. It was homecoming weekend. And I go upstairs, I go change into my dress in the upstairs bathroom. When I come down, I'm just sitting here waiting for everybody, right? But then we found out that we wasn't finna go to this party, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. And then Kiera just starts, out of nowhere, starts getting very mean, very nasty, and just being a bully. So I basically had this wig on. And then when I came downstairs, she was just like, Terry, take that wig off because it's ugly. You look ugly with that wig on. Like, it's sticking to your... And I came downstairs, she was just like, Terry, take that wig off because it's ugly. You look ugly with that wig on. Like, it's sticking to your... And I came downstairs, she was just like, Terry, take that wig off because it's ugly. You look ugly with that wig on. Like, it's sticking to your... Ugly with that wig on. Like, it's sticking to your... Ugly with that wig on. Like, it's sticking to your... Already talking to me? I'm looking at my phone. I'm not paying attention to her because I'm not going to give nobody no attention if they're talking to me disrespectfully. But she continued. The whole entire time, I'm ignoring her. And she's just going off, going all in. And the more that I was ignoring her, the more that she was getting pissed. And she was like, if you don't talk to me right now, I'm going to come over there and slap you across the face. Did she come do it? No, she didn't. And mind you, when she's doing all of this, Leah is there and Jennifer was there. What was Jennifer doing? Jennifer was up in the corner while Leah's friend was taking pictures, having a whole little photo shoot. Leah was sitting there watching the whole thing happen, but wasn't doing anything to stop it. And Leah was the oldest on the group, and she was our captain. She was our leader. She could have said something, but no, she didn't. She just they all sat there and watched me be bullied, watched me get abused, and none of them said a thing. So then what happened is I reported that incident to our advisors, Shelly, Chantel, and Janae. did they do? They basically what they did is they wanted to have a whole meeting with all of us here. And when they had that meeting, the issues was not resolved whatsoever. It wasn't resolved because what Kiera did is she switched up the whole entire narrative. She lied and basically tried to say, make herself out to be the victim, that she didn't do anything wrong. She was lying, was basically saying, just basically retold the narrative that was false. I didn't get a chance when we were having this meeting to speak my truth and say my piece. And I felt that meeting that we had, it was like around this time in 2017 when it happened. It was like right after our Founders Day, right before Thanksgiving break. And I felt that the advisors did nothing to help that situation. They actually made the situation worse. They didn't fix it. They didn't stop it. They didn't, call these girls out. They didn't ask, okay, what's your story? What happened? What did you... No, they basically said, who wants to go first? Of course, Kiera wanted to go first. And what they basically did is they brought all of the ships together. And the way that this was is all of the ships sat on one, all 5 of them sat on one side of the table. I sat on the other side. So obviously this looks like it was 5 against 1. And when we were in this meeting and Kiera was retelling the narrative and saying all of this, nobody said anything. Nobody was like, no, that didn't even happen. Kiera just kind of went out of nowhere and just started bullying Terry. Nobody came to my defense. I didn't even come to my own defense. I wasn't strong enough at the time. And this is why I'm speaking out on this, because it's I did not deserve for that to happen to me. No soror deserves to have that happen to them with their own line system that you want them to be loyal to. Nobody deserves to go through that. And it's so many sorors out here on to this very day that have experienced this, not necessarily the same exact thing that I went through, but they experienced bullying and harassment and narcissism from their line sisters. And they're sitting here suffering in silence because they don't want to out anybody. They don't want to call nobody out. They don't want to make their organization look bad. Well, listen, if the organization wanted to look good, they would have treated their people better. Sigma Gamma Rho chapter at Illinois State University, y'all should have done better, because during that time was a very tumultuous time and everybody knew how horrible people were treating me. But yet, no one did anything. And then when I left, they wanted to act all surprised and they wanted to just kind of write me off. Well, she left. She kind of just... But I'm having people come back and asking about me and everything, because they're like, well, what happened to Terry? And the reason as to why people knew me is because I went to the same school that my parents went to. Both of my parents went to Illinois State University. So when they found out that I had crossed, some of my older sorors knew both of my parents. So it's oh, that's they baby, that's their daughter. So I have other sorors asking about me, wondering what happened to me. They're asking the advisors, they're asking Shelly. Shelly is like, oh well, she just taking a semester off and she'll be back. I had sent all of them an email. But when I sent all of my advisors an email at the end of 2018 calendar year, saying how I was going inactive with the chapter, and I was letting them know why, because I'm the abuse that I had suffered is just, it was a lot. And I told them, I said, if you all want to, I put Janae, Shelly, and Chantel in that entire email. And I left my cell phone number there. And I was like, if you all want to call me and have a conversation, please, by all means, here's my number. Only one of them called me, and that was Chantel. And basically what happened is that the reason as to why I didn't like how that whole entire meeting, I didn't like how that went, was because I was forced to apologize to Kiera for something that I didn't do. They basically bullied me into apologizing to her. So obviously that caused some pain within me, because I basically felt like I was the one in the situation that was personally targeted. I was the one that was victimized in the situation, but yet I was the one that had to apologize. I was the one that was looked at as the villain. And it wasn't until after I left that Kiera started really showing out and showing her ass in front of everybody. And she started being such a bitch to everybody, like the bitch that she is. And then after that, everybody started to see her for who she was. And that's when everybody's like, wow, now I see that Kiara was the problem. And although she tried to make her story so convincing because she was so manipulative, they realized that I was never the problem. But by then it was too late. The damage was already done. I had already left. I was not coming back. I was not about to deal with them. And it's like, it's too late now. Y'all done messed up. Y'all done did enough damage. Y'all done hurt me enough. And the reason as to why I want to speak out on this now is because this needs to be spoken. Our founders will be turning in their grave if they see what these people are doing. Y'all call yourselves sisters, but y'all treat them like bitches off the street. Y'all call each other sisterhood, but y'all treating each other like scum, like trash. Y'all constantly tearing somebody down. You constantly not respecting somebody. You constantly belittling somebody. You constantly abusing somebody. What you all did to me was abuse. That was further than bullying. It was abuse. You may not have physically abused me because y'all wouldn't dare put your hands on me. Era Shay, that one time you put your hands on me, baby, don't you ever put you ain't gonna ever see me again anyway. But anyway, you all verbally, emotionally, and psychologically abused me. Every single time you came towards me, it was all gaslighting and it was all projection. And you all know that for a bloody fucking fact. So don't sit up here and try to tell me, what did we do? You all know what the fuck you did. You know what you did. So don't sit up there and act like you didn't do nothing wrong. Everyone else in that entire chapter knew that you all didn't like me, that you all talked about me like a dog. Every single time you got, why was my name constantly all up in y'all mouths? Y'all that obsessed with me? Why are you so obsessed with me? And let me tell you something that's really gonna irk y'all nerves. Y'all know that y'all were jealous of me. You were jealous of how kind I was. You were jealous of how sweet I was. You were jealous of how loving I was. You were jealous of the pure spirit that I carried. You were jealous of how small and tiny and petite I was. You were jealous of my appearance. You were jealous of my appearance. You were jealous because I am pretty, because I am a beautiful woman, beautiful from the inside out. And you all were not beautiful from the inside out. But I am. That's why you hated me. That's why you hated me. Y'all was jealous. And I can easily say, yeah, y'all jealous of me because I'm cute and I'm pretty and I look better than you. But then I would be the wrong one, right? But no, that's for real. Because if you all have an issue with me and I did nothing wrong to you, then obviously that's jealousy. That's jealousy. Y'all are just some jealous, bitter ass bitches that was so unhappy with your life that you had to go out of your way to tear somebody down. You will never get me again. You will never get the same version that you got before. So do not even think that the Terry that you knew then is the Terry now, because she's not. Allow me to reintroduce myself. You don't know Terry. You will address me as Terry M. Bell because that's who I am. That's my freedom name. That's my strong name. That's my breakthrough name. Terry, she died a long time. That version of Terry, she died a long